Welcome Trinidad and Tobago to our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. I'm Joseph Lopez. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development, in conjunction with the Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Development, opens a youth facility in East Port of Spain. A national parenting program makes its way through the nation, assisting parents and guardians with the upbringing of the nation's youth. And Pan Trinbago distributes more than 60 awards to Pan players, band and other pioneers in recognition of their hard work and dedication. Welcome in our top story. The Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard is celebrating its 52nd anniversary. And as the military organization celebrates its history, its commanding officer is reminding his colleagues that it is just as important to plan for the future.
Acting Commanding Officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard, Captain Hayden Pritchard, is calling on his colleagues to focus on ensuring the Coast Guard remains relevant. He makes the call as the sea-based arm of the Defence Force recognizes its 52 years of existence and its achievements. Captain Pritchard says, given the national security landscape, the Coast Guard must reinvent itself and its approach to national security.
I believe that planning for the future is necessary if we are to be able to re-engineer and revitalize ourselves so that we remain reliably pertinent to current and future maritime-based national security imperatives.
He explains that the role of the Coast Guard has evolved, and so must its tactical and administrative operations.
In order to continue to reliably fulfill the role as the first line of defense in the midst of an increasingly complex security environment, primacy of operations must be the center of gravity of our organization. The global and transnational security dimension, driven by geopolitical and socio-economic realities and the resulting phenomena of illegal human and narco trafficking, money laundering, illegal migration and deportation, radicalization and terrorism, and the application of technology to criminal enterprise have all informed the need for a period of significant strategic, operational, and administrative defense and security transformation.
The acting commanding officer says the organization's efforts at transformation will be in vain if it isn't provided with the necessary resources. In that light, he commends the government for its recent decision to acquire a fleet of new vessels for the Coast Guard.
Cabinet has approved the acquisition of a fleet of new vessels that traverse the spectrum of required capabilities, which should begin arriving in early 2015. This introduces a host of opportunities as well as new threats. Accordingly, significant preparation is taking place to ensure seamless assimilation as operational tempo increases and Coast Guard life as a whole changes. Key elements of this are logistics and maintenance capacity and excellence, superior manpower planning, as well as a more robust wellness system.
Captain Pritchard is, however, expressing the importance of its other stakeholders playing an active role in the acquiring and improving of resources.
There is thus an intensification of the urgent need for a new focus and commitment to this noble and priceless organization from those whose actions can either hinder its progress or facilitate its success. Infrastructurally, the formation has to be able to support both its growth in numbers as well as the requirement to generate and sustain more complex types of operations. Relationships with key stakeholders have to be resuscitated where they have lapsed, and where relevant, new ones developed. The training curricula must keep pace with the requirement to generate a new type of leader and sailor.
Captain Pritchard suggests plans are in place to embrace the new modern-day concept of holistic health and wellness. He says as changes in the Coast Guard are imminent, there must also be greater focus placed on the well-being of Coast Guard officers, and the current traditional concept of health must be discarded. Gregory McBurney, News 4.
The community of East Port of Spain was given a facelift on Monday as the Barcelona Street Youth Facility was officially opened. Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development, Dr. Bohindradat Tiwari, hopes the facility will serve as a launchpad for greater things in the community.
Although it is true that some in this land that I love may have gone haywire, it does not mean that my community does not aspire and aspire to achieve. And as I dance for you and for me, please do believe that we want to be somebody and that we want to do things in the world for you and for me.
These words were made up on the spot by Minister of Planning and Sustainable Development, Dr. Bohindradat Tiwari, at the opening of the youth facility on Barcelona Street, East Port of Spain on Monday. He said the inspiration came during a dance done by residents for the ceremony. In addition, the minister sought to praise the work done to refurbish the building.
So this Barcelona Street Youth Facility is more than a facility. It has always been a physical landmark, a historical milestone, and a symbol to which many residents of Barcelona Street and the environment can relate as part of their childhood, and you heard the chairman talk about her own childhood, as part of a community where everyone shared and lived in unity, and as part of a learning environment that taught you how to be tough, but also how to embrace life's challenges.
He said the building continues to serve as a major landmark in the community.
With its humble beginning as a small structure consisting of an office and washrooms, the center evolved, addressing some of the social and educational needs of the community. It served in all spheres of community life, from trade and technical school to skills in cosmetology and culinary arts, to sport in all its forms.
The minister noted that the Barcelona Street Youth Facility was one of 37 projects the East Port of Spain Development Company has completed in the past 3 years. It also offers free Wi-Fi courtesy Green Dot for residents. The minister made an appeal for up-and-coming fashion designers to take interest in courses offered at the center, including sewing.
I would like to encourage you, the members of the Barcelona Street and its environs, to use the skills you will learn here to develop your own businesses. I say that sincerely. The world is moving towards products of the human imagination, and there's a lot of human imaginative capability in this part of the country.
In closing, the minister emphasized the work being done by his ministry, citing some 45 projects that have been completed over the past 3 years. Supporting Minister Tiwari's view of the importance of youth facility, Minister Decoto in his featured address encouraged residents to maintain the facilities and to put it to good use. He stated, "The government of Trinidad and Tobago recognizes that youths are agents of change, with whom we are to establish and sustain a synergetic relationship."
Let us encourage them, and we'll feel very proud of them, so that they would feel a sense of purpose. And with that sense of purpose, they would not only build this community, they would build Trinidad and Tobago. Far too often we're saying, that was a waste of time. The young people today, they are a waste of time. I'm not saying that at all. And I would not encourage statements like that. The young people today are the ones who would build Trinidad and Tobago. They are the ones who would succeed us. They are the ones who would help to make the dreams that we have, that we would have conceptualized. They would help to make those dreams a reality.
The statement was made to reaffirm the need for the facility, which provides the opportunity to do such. He ended by encouraging the young at heart to give the physically young a chance. He stated, by giving them a chance, they become what they have to be. The function ended with the unveiling of the Barcelona Street Youth Facility sign as children, residents, Minister Tiwari and Decoto were all smiles as the red curtains fell. More news after the break. Stay with us.
This Monday, TV4 brings you a National Day of Tributes. Enjoy your Independence holiday with TV4 as we bring you tribute after tribute of national heroes, icons, and contributors who all left an indelible mark on the nation. A National Day of Tributes, all day, Monday, September 1st, exclusively on TV4, our TV.
Welcome back. While raising a child in today's society has its challenges, the manner in which parents handle these situations can determine the attitudes their child grew up with and how they value and view their parents when they themselves become adults. As a result, over 172 parents participated in a parenting workshop hosted by the Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Development.
It's said that a family unit holds the cornerstone of our society, and improving the quality of life starts with improving the quality of parenting. For this reason, the Ministry of Gender, Youth and Child Development hosted its parenting training workshop, which aims at providing parenting education, parent training and parenting support. In congratulating participants in the graduation ceremony, Line Minister Clifton Dekoto urged parents to be responsible in all their actions.
From the progressive parenting perspective, a more useful definition of a parent might be an adult person who, in sharing a heartfelt relationship with a child, not only serving as a healthy role model for the child, but provides the emotional security and guidance necessary for that child to experience all the normal childhood development stages that lead to adulthood. Nowhere wrong in that area does it give leeway to incest and this kind of foolishness that some persons who are in charge of our young ones indulge in. And I abhor that with a passion. You have a responsibility, fulfill your responsibility.
The program was facilitated through the assistance of the University of the Southern Caribbean. Dr. Clinton Valley, president of the university, attributed a number of society's ills to the lack of proper parenting.
We have so much of our youngsters today who really are bereft of that kind of training and discipline. And so they're getting themselves into crimes. When you have 9-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 15-year-olds who are steeped in crime and well known to the police service, I'm saying that that's not just a problem of juvenile delinquency, it is a problem of parental delinquency.
For many of the parents participating in the class, the takeaway from the workshop has helped open up their eyes to new ways of coping with situations with their children. Mother of 2 young children, both under the age of 6, Anne-Marie Noel Tamby, described how the class influenced her responses from being hostile to calm towards her children.
Although my 5-year-old had me wrapped around his little finger, I would shout, I would scream, I would fuss, I would call daddy at work, everything, come home now, I need help. But thanks to Miss Sanka and Miss Celestine during her time of grief, I was able to control myself, compose myself, and sit and talk and chat with him at his level until at one point in time he was like, Mommy, you're not feeling well. Daddy, Mommy's not well. Mommy's not shouting. Mommy's not screaming. Mommy's not licking me down. And I'm like, very good, very good. I went to class the next day and I'm like, it worked.
One young mother underscored the importance of practicing reinforcement language to her daughter.
From these sessions, I have learned how to praise and encourage my child. Praise is an important factor if we want our children to do well in school. Positive behavior.
Wayne Jordan, a preschool teacher in the Beetham area, welcomed the initiative in his district.
In Beetham, I'm an advocate for the young parents who may not have the skills how to grow their children up in a particular kind of manner. So when Miss Simon came to me and said, Wayne, I want to run a parenting, workshop in my area, I said, a lot of parents feel kind of subjected. Who come to teach me about parenting? I am my own child. I can bring, So I'm telling them it's a different kind of way, a lot of jargon you need to use and understand the concept of how growing up children. So I said we have to go in a way that we should announce and then invite people.
In the end, Minister Decoto vowed to see that the program be expanded and become a staple in each community across Trinidad and Tobago. Kimberly Ramkalawan, News 4.
The Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission, TNTEC, hosted a twofold event over the weekend with the illumination of lights and the opening of the Yoland Pumpy Recreation Ground in Princestown and cultural extravaganza. Now the event was part of the community's independence celebrations where TNTEC and the Ministry of Public Utilities turned on lights at the park. The initiative was part of the public lighting program, which ensures that communities across the country and Trinidad and Tobago are well lit and facilities are easily accessible.
Rio Claro, which is the largest town in southeastern Trinidad, is one of the last villages in the county of Nariva Mayaro to have been established. It is said that Rio Claro's development as a village was tied to two early 20th century phenomena, namely the growing importance of cocoa and coffee and the arrival of the railway. The Rio Claro community this year celebrates this centennial anniversary under the theme Come Home to Rio Claro, celebrating 100.
We from this part of the country, we take pride in our community. And when it is that we are celebrating 100 years, it is more so an occasion to be thankful for, and in a lot of ways to be boastful of. You know, because this was the last stop on the train. And as I understand it, this is the train, this place was founded because of the train.
The Honourable Minister of Community Development continued to speak of the importance of the train in the development of the area, and even alluded to the possibility of the railway becoming a part of the future development of the country.
When we launched this whole thing, it's around the train coming to Rio Claro and indeed making us what we are. And today we are much more developed than when the train last left us. But in commemoration of 100 years, if one doesn't know where you come from, then you wouldn't know where we're going. And who knows, in time to come, we may very well have to turn to the train once again.
A great number of activities are expected to take place in Rio Claro from August 23rd to September 1st, including a Rio Claro River cleanup and water ceremony, an Interfaith Day of Praise, awards and civic reception, the reenactment of the arrival of the train, and the Miss Rio Claro Centennial Finals.
This centennial idea was first discussed by the Rio Claro Improvement Committee and the Jetner Institute. Subsequently, it was conveyed to Mr. Samuel of the local Community Development Office, who subsequently passed it on to Minister Peters, I think at another meeting. And I, at this point, want to commend Minister Peters for seeing the potential of this and appointing Mr. Dawad Philip, who is his advisor, to convene a meeting to start discussing the centennial.
He said the first meeting took place in March, and in April a ministerial delegation visited some of the sites in the area. Visitors to Rio Claro during the celebrations will be in for a treat as they explore the culture and heritage sites around the town. Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
More news after the break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Trinidad and Tobago captured its first major regional football title in 13 years by defeating Jamaica in the final of the Caribbean Women's Cup on Tuesday. Along with taking the top prize and securing a place in the final round of the World Cup qualifying, the Soca Princesses also dominated the individual awards. And here's Wayne Cunningham with the details.
Take another look at history. This is the goal which gave Trinidad and Tobago the inaugural Women's Caribbean Cup title. On hand for the presentation ceremony was a hierarchy of regional football administration, which included Caribbean Football Union President Gordon Derrick, as well as FIFA Executive Committee members Captain Horace Borrell and Sonia Binami, the lone female at FIFA's highest level. The presentation party also included Trinidad and Tobago Football Association President Raymond Timkey, CFU General Secretary Damian Hughes, and TSTT Chairman Everett Snaggs, who presented the Fair Play Award to Martinique. The CFU also showed their appreciation to the TTFA for hosting the first ever Women's Cup. The Players' Awards were up next, and it was no surprise when Tobago starlet Kamika Forbes was adjudged the best goalkeeper. Nothing got past her for the entire contest. She accepted her prize with pride from Captain Borrell. The Golden Boot goes to the score of the most goals in the tournament, and that went to TNT's Tasha St. Louis, who tallied 7. She grabbed a hug from the mayor of Port of Spain. Trinidad and Tobago's Mariah Shane was the choice for the tournament's MVP. She scored 6 goals and was outstanding in the midfield. Then it was on to the medals, with Haiti up first to collect the bronze, led by Captain Kensia Marseille and the outstanding Kenzie Bobo. Next up was silver medalist Jamaica, with Captain Alicia Wilson and crowd favorite Shakira Duncan in their ranks. Along with the individual awardees, gold medalist Trinidad and Tobago had many contributors to their historic triumph, including the leadership of Maylie Atten Johnson, the pace, skill and creativity of Kenya Cordner, the stout defending of Aaron King and Ayanna Russell, and the tenacity of Karen Forbes, all played key roles in capturing the first ever Women's Caribbean Cup. Wayne Cunningham, News 4 Sports.
Thank you, Wayne Cunningham. Switching gears, individual pan players, bands and other pioneers have been recognized for their hard work and dedication by the world governing body for PAN. Pan Trinbago distributed more than 60 awards as it continues to facilitate PAN's growth here in Trinidad and Tobago and beyond.
The pan is the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago, and it's indeed something to be proud of. Recently, Pan Trinbago held its prize distribution and award ceremony at Naparima Bowl in San Fernando, where it recognized several pan players and bands for their continued success.
We have come here this evening to recognize and to celebrate Steel Band Month. Those of us who have given service and those of us who have excelled, all in the cause of PAN. We will give awards to persons, individuals who have toiled and who are toiling in the vineyard. Pioneers without whom there would have been no PAN. Tuners without whom there would be no PAN. Women without whom there would be no PAN or PAN men. And youth without whom there will be no PAN in the future.
For well over 50 years, Trinidad and Tobago has given the world beautiful, pulsating music of the steel pan. Audiences from as far away as Yokohama to South Africa to London and Miami have all been left spellbound and amazed by the wonderful songs emanating from simple order drums. Indeed, over the past few decades, the steel band movement has grown from strength to strength, literally migrating from the relatively economically depressed areas of society to some of the most acclaimed halls around the world. Tonight's gathering includes over 60 individuals and organizational representatives who have proven to be the cream of crop in the steel band world. It is most fitting that this special occasion is being held during the month of PAN.
We had the opportunity to interview some of the awardees during the cocktail reception. First was Myrtle Robinson, who at the age of 12 heard her first steel band and fell in love with the instrument. She was given the Woman in Steel Award and to this day is still actively involved in the steel band movement.
Very, very nice. All my years in steel band, from the age of 13, 14, and steel band. Running away to go and hear them and getting in trouble. My cousin Tommy, he running away to Tripoli and I in Saigon. and we line for one another.
We then spoke to Franca Hills Headley, who was also given the Woman in Steel Award. A few of the titles she holds are musician, conductor, arranger, and founder and director of Golden Hands, among others.
Women have always been there, They have motivated all the riots and the fights among steel bands, but now, more and more women have been recognized because the world that we live in is, I think, a little more gender friendly, and women now have the opportunities to do anything. They're not constrained by stereotypes and all of that. So I think as far as steel band, the steel band fraternity is concerned, it's just the beginning of our whole wide, field of women entrepreneurs in the area of the steel band art form.
Cupping the Pan Trinbago Award was Aquila Rindell, who is versed in not only the steel pan, but also the piano, African drums, tabla, and he even has a cursory knowledge of the guitar.
Taking it from one place to the next, I see person at my age and my level have a lot of ideas. What is happening in the steel pan fraternity though is because of the domination of the older heads are some not willing to let go, or some may not have somebody to pass to give the band to, or feel confident that they would give the band or train a successor. The steel band movement right now is still a bit stagnant, but it would move on because they can't hold on to the positions forever. I know a lot of young persons like me with bright ideas, and soon as they get their hands or they get an opportunity to move their band forward, they would do so.
Nikolai Edwards, News 4.
And that's how we wrap up this edition of our News 4 report, a product of the Government Information Services Limited. Remember, you can view a repeat of our newscast weekdays at 6 a.m. and feel free to visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/our TV4. And you can also visit our YouTube channel, youtube.com/the GISL TD. I'm Joseph Lopez. Thank you for watching.